Hey folks, Deano here again. This time, taking a look at something that I've personally been waiting for a very long time. I am so happy that Tamashii decided to reissue this guy in all of his glory. And yeah, this is Majin Buu, which I think it came out only a few weeks ago, reissue-wise. Obviously, official figures take a little bit longer to get to me than everyone else, and that varies from figure to figure. For example, I'm still waiting on Super Saiyan Daima Kid Goku, but yeah, we won't talk about that. But yeah, so happy I finally got a hold of this guy. As soon as I seen he was going back up for reissue, I jumped at the chance. The only one really that I'm still holding out for a reissue, yes, I'm aware he already got reissued, was this guy, Super Buu. That was the Legend Creation one, by the way. I don't actually have the official. But yeah, I regret not being able to buy that guy twice. So chances of us getting another reissue of him are quite slim. Although, at this point, I would probably just prefer they release Buuhan and just pretty much complete the set of Boos. I know we've got Buu tanks and stuff like that, but I don't really care about Buu tanks as much as Buuhan. But yeah, this adorable, like, massive sized bubblegum is he's a big boy. He's chunky. I'll be honest. I'd seen the original reviews and like the in-hand pictures and stuff at the time, but something in my mind didn't click that he was genuinely going to be this big. Like, honestly, I am so surprised. Although he's not actually that heavy. Like, he's actually quite hollow. But yeah, we will go into that more later on. For now though, let's get him off the turntable and take a look at the box. So yeah, it doesn't happen very often, but this box is just too big for my setup here. So apologies if you can see the sides of my review station. Yeah, on the front we have SH Figuarts Majin Buu. I also notice it's the English version of Buu. I'm almost certain the original version of this guy, it was pronounced BOO, which is obviously the Japanese translation. But yeah, this one has BW, which, I mean, I'll take it. In terms of the legalese down the bottom, they have done something rather interesting here. Designed by Tamashii in Japan, Bandai Spirits made in China. There is no date on here to speak of at all, which is quite strange. I don't think they've done that before with reissue sort of things. I'm pretty sure the Frieza had a date on him, the reissue of the first form Frieza that I did last month. So yeah, quite interesting that they just didn't put a date on this guy. The Tamashii sticker obviously being the up-to-date one, the smaller sticker to basically differentiate this guy from the original. Toy sticker, Dragon Ball Z logo, Tamashii Nations, Bandai. Some nice pictures of Buu on the sides, and on the back we have all of his lovely poses, and for me, the import stickers. So yeah, and yeah, they've actually put reissue on the back of the box. That is interesting. They are making sure to differentiate this guy from the original. But yeah, that'll do it for the box. Let's take a look at what he comes with. So, in terms of what he comes with, he doesn't actually come with a whole lot, which is a bit disappointing. I am not including the cape, because yes, true, it's packaged separately, but it's an integral part of the figure. So yeah, I do not count that as an accessory. Plus the cape is quite horrible. But we'll get to that later. But I can't really be that disappointed with the array that we get here. Could we have got more faces? Sure. But he is already a really beefy figure, and his price was actually pretty decent for the size of him. So yeah, I'm not going to complain too much about that. But yeah, we get 3 faces, or 3 full heads rather, 3 pairs of hands, and a chocolate bar accessory, which yeah, I can't have Boo without having something to eat. So yeah, we have the standard Goofy smile, and we have him being Goofy sticking his tongue out, which he does stick his tongue out quite often in the show, but you can also use it with the chocolate, pretending he's licking the chocolate. And then you've got the maniacal grin face, which in my opinion is probably the best face we get here. So yeah, really happy with that. Unfortunately, we are missing his angry face, but then that would have probably needed to come with the steam sort of effects, so I can kind of see why that wasn't here. But we also don't have an open mouth yelling sort of face for like doing a Kamehameha or something like that. So yeah, kind of a strange array of heads, frankly, but we deal with it. We deal with it. The hands that we get are a pair of fists, which are on him in the packaging. Unfortunately, one of mine already has like some black smudges from being next to the pants. The paint that they've used on these pants, I think it was bad back when he first released. It's just bad now. Like they have not fixed the paint rub issue. So yeah, bit of a disappointment there. We get a pair of gripper style hands, which for how generic these kind of are, you can kind of use them as a Kamehameha. As long as I can actually get the arms into the correct pose, that is. But yeah, those just slot round the chocolate bar, which is quite good. That is a nice tight grip, so it's not going to fall off. Why am I still holding the hands? I wanted to see the chocolate bar. Chocolate bar itself is pretty decent. At the top, looks as if it's been kind of eaten / melted. That's quite good. Not entirely sure what kind of chocolate bar this is. I don't know of any that have holes in them, but hey oh. We get the silver here for the sort of foil that's coming off, and the bottom is just generic white. It's just a white slab, which, yeah, doesn't really look like chocolate at the bottom, but he'll be holding it anyway, so you won't really see it. The brown into silver paint, like, I get it's a difficult part to sort of paint, but there are some bits missed in the crevices of this chocolate. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. Not really something you will really notice, however. And finally, we get a pair of pointing hands. I believe he mostly done this when he wanted people to fight him. So yeah, you don't leave, you stay with Boo, that sort of thing. So yeah, nice that those are included. But yeah guys, that is it for accessories. Let's take a look at the figure. So, in terms of popping everything back on to Boo, unfortunately we just have a ball hinge at the top of the neck instead of just a ball peg. Not sure why they went that way, although this is an older figure, so yeah, they were still well into the 2.0 lineup when this guy first came out. The heads go on, but not really a satisfying pop, so you have to sort of fiddle with it until you realise it's actually on there. The wrists are not a ball hinge. The sheer size of these pegs, and I believe they think it's a bit too dangerous for that. Also noticed when I put that on there, the wrist was very loose. That's strange. But yeah, those pop on with relative ease. which is good. And as for the bloody seagulls, so yeah, the cape is a horrible thing. It's back when they weren't doing the cloth goods, which is up until recently, to be fair. 3 pegs go into his back, and yeah, it's only really good for lying down, and even at that, it's not great. I kind of would have preferred them just to have made it 1 solid piece instead of 3. Like, when are you ever going to need it splaying out like that, segmented? I mean, yeah. If this guy would have come out a few years later than he did, we could have probably had a proper cloth cape, but it was not to be. And I am not willing to get the third-party cape because it involves destroying his plastic neck piece. So yeah, we'll pop this bit back off because I want to test something. This right here is the head that came with the Legend Creation Super Buu. So yeah, obviously the official Super Buu came with this same head accessory with the beam you turn into chocolate. So yeah, I want to see if this fits on the official body. It's been many years in the making to do this. The head does look a bit smaller than the official, and it's also like kind of rough now that I'm seeing the differences. But yeah, I would still like to see if it fits, just in case. And yeah, there we go. That it does fit. The head is kind of noticeably small, but yeah, it does work. It pops in there, albeit a little bit loose in places. But yeah, if for whatever reason you still have the old Legend Creation head lying around, then yeah, you can indeed pop that on this body if you so choose. And yeah, again, you don't really feel it popping in, but it does pop in. So yeah, let's modify the camera angle, shall we, so that we can take a good look at this guy. There we go. Right, so in terms of details for the figure, he's actually got a fair bit of paint and shading on him. Surprisingly, he has shading around the bit of his belly that goes between the what do you call it, his belt section right here, and he has quite a bit of shading on his sort of cape as well. So yeah, very surprising. I believe there are some bits of shading in the white, but the really harsh cameras that I've got here, making it almost impossible to tell if they are actually shading or not. The black pieces and the gold pieces are both painted, and they are really nice looking, I have to say. The black is a nice sort of almost matte, but it does have a sheen to it, and the gold is just a beautiful sort of yellow gold. So yeah, really nice. I like it. But yeah, other than that, not really much to speak of in terms of details. He's pretty much a big ball. That is the best way to describe him. But yeah, in terms of the articulation of this guy, surprisingly more than you would think, despite this horrible cape. I've just realised I've got a... That was actually stuck on there. I think that was a fibre from the factory that's been stuck with the shading. Anyway, in terms of articulation, we get up that much. Don't really get down any because he's a big bulbous head. But we do get some swivel and a little bit of pivot on there, despite the fact that it is just a ball hinge. The arms, that butterfly joint is horrendous, Tamashi. Would it have killed you just to fill in the gap? Like, why? Why is that a thing? Like, once you notice that, you can't unsee it. It's unsightly. Like, you can see it even from the front. Yeah, I don't know why they did that. I really don't. But we do get a swivel all the way around. Arms can go up that far. The butterfly, despite being horrendous and 2.0 style, does still get really good range, actually. Like, really good range. Yeah, he can touch the middle with his hands. So yeah, you can indeed make a Kamehameha pose with this guy, which is very, very nice. I like it. I wasn't actually expecting that amount of articulation. But yeah, we have bicep swivel, double joint at the elbow, which should be able to get more range, but for some reason stops short. That's a bit disappointing. Why does it do that? Like, there's clearly enough range there to get more, but he doesn't. Strange. Ball peg at the wrist, which, yeah, like I said before, the hands feel a little bit loose on that wrist, to be honest. The waist is somewhere you have to be very, very careful when using the articulation. You can even see here already, that smudge there, that is black paint transfer, because the gap is not uniform around his belly. It does bump up against itself. I would have thought they would have made sure to leave enough clearance, especially with such a obvious flaw in their paint job. But yeah, if you're careful, he can go forward that much. Let's try and bring it back up without scratching it, scuffing it. He can't really go back much, so yeah, he can kind of do the pivot, but again, be careful of paint rub, for the love of God. Feet do not look as if they would do much, but they actually do a fair bit. They kick out that much. They kick back a little. They do the full splits. These are actually 3.0 style hips. Just massively overscaled. Like, genuinely, they did an amazing job with the feet. He gets a knee joint right there, which the back of his foot actually has a cutout to accommodate it. Wish they would have done that with the elbow, but here you go. And the feet have, I think it's just a ball hinge. Yeah, it's looking like it is. So he gets down that much, up that much, not too much to the side, unfortunately, and toe articulation is standard. So yeah, oh, and he also has a thigh swivel, which is very hidden, very hard to notice. So yeah, overall the articulation of this guy is actually pretty decent. Like, I'm impressed. I was not expecting as much articulation on this guy as he actually has, which is saying quite a lot. So yeah, let's put this guy back a bit and bring in some comparisons, shall we? I actually have what I was using as stand-in, which I am sad to say is not very good at these days, but that is the Super Battle Collection Majin Buu from way back in the day, and yeah, it's safe to say there's not much contest here, is there? In fact, there isn't any contest. This guy can barely lift his arms, let alone anything else. But yeah, he is precious, oh so precious. If anyone can get where I got that reference from, I will give you a cookie. And yeah, it's from YouTube, so just let me know if you figured it out in the comments. But yeah, this is literally like, don't talk to me or my baby brother ever again. Like, this is closer to the bits of Boo that go flying back into him after Vegeta does the final explosion. So yeah. Let's bring in Super Boo right here. I know this is not the official one, blah 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 blah. So obviously the differences would be a lot closer than this. But yeah, the gold on the Super Boo is nowhere near as nice as on this one. But I think that's purely due to Legend Creation being cheapskates. But yeah, and finally, let's bring in the Tonson Art Toys Kid Buu, which, yeah, that's a trio if ever I seen one. That's amazing. Surprisingly though, I genuinely thought Tonson making this one be the anime colours version would have made it match the Super Buu, or at least the Fat Buu, but he doesn't really. The colour of the pink doesn't match, and the pants are grey instead of white, and the gold is more of a bronzy copper gold on this guy. So yeah, kind of a strange one right there, but we will deal with it. It is the only Kid Buu we have at the moment, even though it's not great and it's a bit floppy these days, even though I've literally never posed him since I reviewed him. So yeah, he is kind of a mess for Tonson's first foray into figures, but yeah. At the end of the day, guys, I do definitely recommend getting this Buu before he is gone again, potentially this time forever, because yeah, it's taken quite some time for Tamashii to reissue him. They may never do so again. So yeah, if I can find a link for him, I will leave it in the description. That goes for Amazon and AliExpress. Personally, I got this guy from Karibo. I think they do still have stock, so those of you in the UK who are interested, please go pick him up, show Karibo some love, and tell them I sent you. Please. But yeah, guys, that'll do it for this review. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed. And until next time, I'll see y'all later.